remember how I said this movie was partially prophesized by the last movie, All Monsters Attack? Well, here we are. Entry 11, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, released in 1971. And it is pretty bizarre, but at least it's better than All Monsters Attack. That's something. And this movie has a very strange direction, done by Yoshimitsu Banno. And aside from Godzilla Raids Again, this is the only movie in the Showa era to not be directed by Shiro Honda or Jun Fukuda. So anyway, a giant slug monster named Hedorah is discovered by an old man, so Dr. Toru Yano and his son, Ken, investigate. Toru goes underwater to investigate, but by that point, the Hedorah has slowly grown bigger and attacks him, rendering him partially blind. After evolving a bit more, Hedorah continues smoking lung cancer until Godzilla arrives, fights off the beast, and their fight eventually ends in the water. During this fight, we see a bunch of fish heads and a bunch of funk music. So I'm gonna play at that game. Godzilla is his name. Godzilla is his name. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But before we get back to the plot, did Chef have a Japanese release here? Oh wow, it actually did. That's pretty insane. Unfortunately, Hedorah's body parts split off and they eventually grew into more Hedorahs. They eventually joined together into one flying Hedorah, which nearly suffocated Godzilla with the toxic fumes. We even see a dude hit by the smog dissolve into bone. And keep in mind, this movie was rated G when it came here in the States, and this was aimed towards little kids. Then we see a Hedorah being dried out by the Yano family, and they theorize that electricity is their weakness. As the electrodes are being massively upscaled, a bunch of teenagers are having a youth party at Mount Fuji. However, Hedorah decides to crash it by killing almost everybody. The next 3 minutes or so is basically Godzilla destroying Hedorah, or at least trying to anyway, although he does lose a hand and an eye. So, he's a pirate now. Get out! However, the monsters destroy the power lines, leaving the electrodes powerless. But then, Godzilla fires his atomic breath at it, sending electrodes flying everywhere and frying Hedorah. However, Hedorah escapes, and yeah. Godzilla brings Hedorah back and continues ripping and frying him before leaving, with the humans safe once again. Overall, monster action is great, the human setting is actually pretty interesting, and the backdrop's also pretty cool. Overall, I give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's a massive improvement over All Monsters Attack.